Okay, I call the meeting to order. It's 9 o'clock on April 22nd. You have the agenda before you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Amanda, if you'll read the minutes of the previous meeting.
April 15th, 2024, Chairman Pro Tem Cluse called a regular meeting of the Wright County Board of Supervisors to order at 9 a.m. Members present were Cluse and Rasmussen, with Hubble present via telephone. Motion by Rasmussen, second by Hubble, to approve the tentative agenda with tabling item 9, review and take action on resolution 2024-14 for additional uses of the ARPA funds to May 6th and schedule a work session on April 29th at 11 a.m. at the Wright County Resource Center. Motion carries. Minutes of the previous regular meeting of April 8th, 2024 were read and approved with 2 corrections. Approved claims for payment. In open forum, Dennis Mraz spoke about the land west of Highway 69 on the south side of 250th Street, owned by Galt Real Estate LLC. Last Thursday, they started pattern tiling that land. There is a drainage ditch within a couple hundred yards of the field. In the fall, liquid hog manure is knifed into the ground for fertilizer. Unfortunately, there is so much liquid that is knifed in that the ground will float. Mraz is concerned about the excess nitrogen and phosphorus that will be going someplace with the new drainage tile. Cluse also expressed for him to share with Farm Bureau and their board. Bob Ritter spoke in open forum about the naturalist position and what the job entails. Eric Richter, Wright County Conservation Director, explained that naturalist gives education type programs to schools and surrounding communities. Conservation has not had a lot of success keeping the younger naturalists around our area. Franklin County reached out to share the naturalist position. It will cost Wright County $50,000 for our share, and the employee of record will be Franklin County. Wright County will reimburse the mileage for the programs that are done in Wright County because Franklin County is providing the vehicle. Rector presented the 28E agreement with Franklin County for a shared naturalist position. This position will be spent half the time in Wright County and half the time in Franklin County. Wright County can terminate the contract with a 30-day notice and is not forced to keep the employee on staff if Franklin County terminates the position. Franklin County will bill Wright County quarterly. Motion by Rasmussen, second by Hubble, to approve the 28E agreement with Franklin County for a shared naturalist position. Motion carries. Motion by Rasmussen, second by Hubble, to approve the cigarette, tobacco, nicotine vapor permit for Casey's General Store by Dow's. Motion carries. Chris Oliver, Wright County Veterans Affairs Director, presented the quarterly report. There is no dollar spent for general assistance. There are currently 2 bills sitting on the governor's desk to be signed this week. Coffee with Chris will be held on April 26th. Motion by Rasmussen, second by Hubble, to accept the Veterans Affairs quarterly report. Motion carries. Jeremy Abbas, Wright County, or assistant to the Wright County engineer, gave an update on the secondary roads. There are 12 work orders completed last week. Blades are out actively blading their routes. A total of 48 of 57 segments have been hauled for the granular engineered miles. Crews completed the gradation performance analysis last week. The bridge on C-70 is coming along. The west side was poured last week and hope to have the east side poured this week or next week, weather permitting. Motion by Rasmussen, second by Hubble, to adjourn the meeting. Motion carries.
Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, they'll stand approved as presented. Oh, claims were around, I think it was 4 signatures. Open forum for public input.
Well, there's another CO2 leak in Louisiana, near Danbury.
Okay, no,
It was windy. And it took them 2 hours to get there. And they sheltered in place within a quarter mile, but that was local. Emergency response did that, so Danbury didn't bother to get there.
okay. I had read that and seen it on the pipeline forums. As a matter of fact, that was mentioned in, when we had our planning and zoning meeting, that was brought up, Julie Glade brought that up. Anything else?
I think that's it, and the $15 million lawsuit
Yes,
from a company in India.
yeah, for Summit not taking, delivery of the
Yeah.
pipe, yeah. Okay, anyone else, anyone online? It is open forum. Did you have something, Sandy?
Well, it was approved that individuals 65 and older are able to get a second boost on the new COVID. I feel like that's, over the last, since the first came out and watching the trends, it's hitting that older population more.
Okay,
So they felt like that was a good fit to have a second.
so if you're 65 years or older, you can go to public health and receive a second booster on the COVID vaccine.
Of the new COVID vaccine, yes.
Is that, does it matter if you previously had Moderna or,
No,
I can't remember, it doesn't matter.
Pfizer, no.
Okay.
And pharmacies, I think some of the pharmacies probably still have it also, but check with pharmacies because they also are the doctor's office. I'm not sure how much they're doing. And I still have the bridge grant for anybody that may not have insurance.
Good.
They can get that.
Is that the second or third or fourth or?
This one, so that's it. Oh. I'm so struggling with the timeline when that the new Omicron came out, because we had all the same, and then they came out with that new one. To catch up with all the variances. So this would be a second one of those,
Second one of the new one.
of the new one, a second one of the new one, yes. Yeah. And then and so I'm sure this fall it'll be also recommended, obviously you always get your flu shots, they booted the flu. Get your flu shot and get that, boost also. RSV is also available for, older adults. We don't carry the RSV, but pharmacies do, it's billed through through more of the major medical or pharmacy rather than the other.
Okay,
But definitely this year are across the state, including Wright County, the flu vaccine. We didn't hit a rate like we have in the past. It was lower because of vaccine hesitancy. And it showed because of the hospitalizations and illnesses. Boy, influenza A and B just went rampant along with COVID. So it did show definitely that the vaccine rate was down and the flu rate was up.
Good.
Right now, our biggest thing is, well, we don't want people to get sick or, die. But the other caveat to that is we're pushing the hospitals,
right.
when I think last week blank.
Children's
because our
hospital was full,
was
yeah.
full. So there's where parents, grandparents, again, can help out by having this vaccination, so,
And you have the COVID vaccination
yes,
and can give that.
yes.
Good. All right, anything else? Okay, our next event, for the budget is timed at 9:15. We'll move on to, item number 8, Courtney Morris, Drainage Administrator. Review and take action on McClure Engineering invoice for the Summit Carbon Solution pipeline expense.
Okay. Back in November, we have received an original invoice from McClure totaling $6,752.50. This invoice is different than the one you guys have in front of you. I did not make you a copy of this one because it changed slightly and I'll explain why. So on this invoice, they have charges stemming back as far as February 15th of 2022, all the way up until this fiscal year, on 10/24 of 2023.
Okay.
One of the charges that is on this original invoice had a description of pipeline research on time frame and number of crews met with Wade on Cassuth for a total dollar amount of $740 for a date of 3/8 of 2022.
I see that.
This was questioned at that time, along with the charges from 2022. The new invoice you have in front of you is supposed to reflect that comment about Cassuth County being removed and the related charges removed. Although I'm not sure how they came up with their amount, because that line item was for $740, like I said, and this new invoice is only reduced by $370.
Okay.
Getting into this invoice that you currently have in front of you, though, with that in mind, with that reduction. The charges that are on here, I kind of color coded them for you, so everything that is showing in pink is charges that would be for fiscal year 22-23. Anything showing in blue would be for charges done in, that's supposed to be 23-24.
Okay.
And then all of the dollar amounts listed or highlighted in yellow are the charges that would be during the time frame that McClure was actually appointed with Schneider and Associates. The difference between the first invoice and this invoice is that very first item on here for the February 15th, 2022 date. They reduced that from 6 hours down to 4 hours, and from a dollar amount of $1,110 to $740. That's where they took off that $370.
Good.
Still though, it's not the original charge of the $740 that was on the original line item, but there could have been other charges included in that for other things as well. In the packet that I gave you there, you will see there is March 27th, 2023 meeting minutes from this meeting. And that is where Christina Paradise and Dan Riedmeyer with McClure Engineering and Snyder and Associates came and presented what they would be able to do for Wright County if they were appointed. The next set of minutes, nothing was taken on action on that meeting.
Okay.
The next set of minutes is for April 3rd of 2023. If you look at the second page of those minutes, it was motioned and seconded and carried that Snyder and Associates was appointed as the county inspector to ensure the construction of Summit Carbon Solutions pipeline complies with the agricultural land restoration plan.
Okay.
Then on the April 17th, 2023 date, which to me for drainage, this is the date that I am going off of. This date, the board motioned and seconded and carried to approve the professional services agreement with Snyder and Associates for Wright County Inspector Services on the Summit Carbon Solutions pipeline. And Snyder and Associates, along with McClure Engineering, will also be inspecting the Wright County Drainage District tiles.
Right.
This is the first time it was mentioned about the drainage, so that is the date that I am going with as their actual appointment date for McClure. Now going from there,
From April 17th.
yes, this invoice that we received originally back in November was not paid because of the questions of the charges that were before that April 17th, 2023 date, stemming back to 2022. I had spoken with Dan at the IDDA conference and told him that we would need something from Schneider and Associates stating that Snyder told McClure to send us this invoice directly, because our understanding was that all their charges were gonna be sent to Schneider and then included on Snyder's invoice, which would then be sent to us.
Correct.
A couple weeks ago, I got an email from Dan, asking if we had received payment from Summit for this invoice, and I informed him that we had not sent it in yet, because as I had requested and spoke to him previously about, we were requesting documentation from them and Schneider of the agreement and what they were told.
Good.
On the 16th of this month, I received an email from Christina Paradise with Schneider and Associates. You have that email in front of you. Says Wright County entered into an agreement with Schneider and Associates for county inspector services on April 17th, 2023, which is the correct date. There were some details to be worked out before McClure and Schneider executed a sub-consultant agreement, and it wasn't until October 12th of 2023, the sub-consultant agreement was signed. Any charges McClure may have incurred related to the pipeline prior to October 12th, 2023 would have been direct billed to the county. Charges from McClure related to the pipeline are now sent to Schneider and Associates, included in our billing. So this is why they were told to send us an invoice for that time frame before that October date, because they didn't have that agreement signed with
Got it,
McClure and Schneider.
got it. So they were directly billing us.
Yes.
Okay,
I responded back to Christina and included Dan in the email, and as you can see, I won't read through all of it. I referenced back to 3 minutes and included those when I sent this email to them. Let them know that our records show that we did not appoint McClure until April 17th of 2023. And that prior to the appointment of Schneider and McClure, the board was actually in discussion with another engineering firm, which we were. I broke down the invoice and let them know that there was a list of charges for the specific dates that I included there that were prior to the April 17th, 2023 date. And I said that those should be directly submitted to Summit Carbon Solutions by McClure if they wish to be recouped for those expenses.
okay,
Those expenses totaled $5,832.50. I then followed up by saying that the charges that were included in the following dates, I listed them, were charges that were after the April 17th date. And we can go ahead and submit those now that we have that email from Snyder and Associates. And those total charges only totaled $920.
okay.
I told them that I would present this to see how you would like to proceed and see if you would decide just to submit for the $920 or if there's something different that you wanted to submit for. I then received a response from Dan at McClure. He has asked, if possible, can the board forward the full invoice to Summit with the understanding that the county is not liable for any unpaid amount before we were appointed. Summit seems to understand that there is quite a bit of work that goes into this review regardless of the timeline. I responded to Dan and said that I will run this by them also and let them know what they say, or let you know what they say. I cannot guarantee anything since all expenses have to be budgeted for and documented, even though Summit sends Wright County the funds. That
Okay.
is up to date and current now. My feeling on this is the charges that were for the time frame after Snyder and McClure were appointed after that April 17th date should be sent off to Summit to get payment for that so that we can go ahead and pay McClure for that $920.
Agreed.
Yep.
I do not feel that it is our responsibility to ask Summit to pay the remaining balance of that invoice to us or to McClure when that is their charges before they were even appointed to us, but I will leave that up to you as trustees too.
I agree. I don't see any reason not to submit the full invoice as it is with your documentation and requesting the $920. I mean,
Okay.
that, I agree with you that that is what it appears that we are owed. And you've also submitted the entire document as McClure was requesting, but that's between McClure and Summit, just as you alluded to.
Okay.
So, acting as trustees to the drainage district, I would make a motion that we submit the McClure engineering invoice with the added notations concerning their employment after July 17th, April 17th of 2023, thank you. And that although the total invoice is for $6,382.50, Wright County is requesting payment of, or reimbursement of $920 to cover that, to cover the services provided by Snyder and Associates through McClure.
I would second that.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye,
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you for your
yes.
in-depth documentation on all of this. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Okay, going back to item number 6, we're a little bit past the 9:15. Hold a budget hearing on the Wright County budget for fiscal year 2024-25. That would be the budget beginning on July 1st of this year. Do I have a motion to open that hearing?
So moved.
I'll second. I have a motion and a second to open the hearing on the Wright County budget for fiscal year 2024-2025. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Any comments on the proposed budget for 2024-25? Again, this has been published in the paper. We are not increasing the overall levy rate. There was taxable growth. Taxable growth towards the general basic fund of 9.24%, which of course was limited by House File 718 to 3% maximum growth. On rural basic, we actually had the taxable growth of 11.84%. Again, that was limited by House File 718 to 3% maximum growth. And I guess I would entertain any comments or questions concerning the budget.
Give any written come in?
No written comments. Okay, hearing none, I would make a motion to close the public hearing for the Wright County budget for fiscal year 24-25.
I would second that.
I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing on the Wright County budget for fiscal year 24-25. All those in favor say aye.
Aye,
Aye. Motion carried. Okay, item number 7, review and act on resolution 2024-15 to adopt the fiscal year 2024-2025 Wright County budget. This resolution, for the adoption of budget and certification of taxes for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024 and ending on June 30th, 2025 per Iowa Code 331.434, subparagraph 5. I would entertain a motion for this resolution.
so moved.
I will second. I have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2024-15, a resolution for the adoption of budget and certification of taxes for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025 per Iowa Code 331.434, subparagraph 5. By roll call vote, Carl is absent. Rick,
Aye,
Dean, aye. Motion carries.
I'm gonna actually update this and put my name on here,
Okay,
so she's not here,
Okay.
and then I'll have you.
then you'll have to sign it.
Yep.
Very good. Item number 9, Jeremy Abbott, planning and zoning coordinator, report on reference to floodplain ordinance number 68.
Morning.
Good morning.
In 2013, Wright County entered into a national floodplain insurance program. And with that, you were required to enforce a floodplain management program. Wright County did adopt one at that time, and it was Wright County Ordinance 47. So what we have here now is a recommendation requirement to stay in that program. We had to update our floodplain ordinance. So that's what you're seeing in front of you there. Some small changes that were included were changing the 100-year flood and the 100-year flood elevation with base flood and base flood elevation, as well as reference as development, as the word development. It's important because communities floodplain regulations apply to proposed project that meets the definition of development and will be located within the special floodplain hazard area. Mostly a lot of this was definition based, outside of the flood, the 100-year and base flood.
Okay.
What we did as a board, in a public hearing on April 15th, Planning and Zoning Board has recommended this floodplain ordinance. It is floodplain ordinance number 68, and that was approved on April 15th and recommended, and I'm here to recommend to you guys what they came up with, and they are accepting of ordinance number 68.
And that would
They have to repeal and replace.
repeal and replace ordinance number 47, which was the
Yep.
floodplain management ordinance.
So requesting no action today, obviously this would be a public hearing for you guys, so just reporting on our results and the basis of this floodplain ordinance.
Okay. And this is, was in conjunction with, mandates sent down from the state.
Iowa
correct?
DNR, based on FEMA.
Okay,
So it's a national floodplain insurance program. So when FEMA required the Iowa DNR to make sure all floodplain management ordinances are up to date. So
okay,
this is the second one. And let's say we entered the program in 2013, hasn't been updated since.
okay,
It's now updated.
very good.
And you wanna set a date for that public hearing?
Yeah, you guys will need to set a date for,
Okay,
which usually we
Three.
just do the following Monday.
Okay.
And
We
it's
just
three
have-
readings, but you can set it to, and they had said the same thing. You can reduce the hearings if you want to, if we set it out
Mhm.
far enough to the public
Mhm.
hearing.
so I'll let you coordinate that with Amanda.
Yep.
Get it on the agenda.
Yep.
And,
Really not many changes, just some, we already have an ordinance, it's just some definitions in that.
Okay.
So
very good,
Just-
thank you.
keeps us up to date within the program we're entering.
Okay. Item number 10, Adam Clemens, Wright County Engineer, secondary roads update.
Okay, you have your update. Got quite a bit of rain last week, so the guys were blading when they could, but then also when they weren't out blading, either the trucks or the blades were out. They were inside their shops, maintaining shops and cleaning. Granted the program, just 2 more segments done out of the engineer miles, so 87%. They started on the scheduled rock this year, 1 of 90 right now. Then 8 work orders were completed. So we're hitting it hard, so they're trying to get those done as soon as possible.
And, update on the C-70 bridge.
C-70 bridge, the east side pile are getting driven today. They'll probably pour end of the week.
about pouring this week.
End of the week for the abutment.
Yeah.
So once that's done, hopefully the beams they'll probably do the riprap under the east side. Then beams maybe next couple weeks. Maybe.
Are the beams on site?
No,
They're,
they're 145 foot long.
It'll be a special deal.
Yeah.
it will.
Yeah,
145 foot long.
145 feet.
And how many beams? 5,
Yeah.
okay. Will they be able to bring those in one load or it'll be
5 loads.
5 loads? Okay.
Cool.
Going over any budget.
No, obviously.
Will you ask and update us next week on the expected delivery of?
Yeah.
those
The beams?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they have that information. Thank you.
Will do.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Okay, old business, meetings.
I've got Udmo tomorrow night, Fort Dodge. And that's it that I know of. I got, Eldora coming up too, I believe, Friday.
I've got, building families, today, Midas on Wednesday, which depending on the weather and the soil temperature, we'll see if I can go to that or if Daryl Stevens, updates me on what is discussed there, and then CFR on, Thursday, so. Anything else?
We're doing a walkthrough at the
Next week.
next week.
Next week, we are scheduled for a work session with public health,
Andy,
buildings and grounds, and Chris, Oliver from Veterans Affairs over at the Public Health, or at the Resource Center.
I'm not sure if Courtney will be there or
I don't
That
know
day,
either her hours.
Courtney Hanson with
Okay.
DHS.
No, she's juvenile court.
Juvenile court,
court,
yeah.
Okay, all right,
I'm not sure what day she works. Okay.
but that'll be on the agenda for
Yep.
next week at 11 o'clock. Anything else? I would accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second. I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. We are adjourned.